Hi, ladies. So today is Thursday, April 17th? No, 16th. Um, we are going to do one more and one less than, and then we are going to move on to like 10 more and 10 less and 5 more and 5 less. So I just thought this would be a good review to start off simple first. So I just put some numbers on the board. We have 391. So when you're doing one more, what you have to think about is the 1. In the number 1, 1 is in the ones place, right? So when you're looking at your number, you're only focusing on, You're only focusing on, so it's in the ones place. You're only focusing on that ones place. That's the only thing that's changing. So you can keep your 39 and you're adding 1 to 2, which is going to give you 3. So your new number is 393. Now, if we go down here, this changes a little bit. So when you're adding, again, keeping with the ones place still, when you're adding 1 to 9, you're going to go up to 10. So when you're counting 199, you're going to that next 100. You can also thinking about it and cover up the 100 if you're confused. What's after 99? You go to 100. So 199, you're going to go to the next 100. So we would add 1 to the 9, which is going to give us 10. So 0 in your ones place. Carry your 1 over, which is going to give us another 10. 9 plus 1 is 10. Carry your 1 over. 1 plus 1 is 2. 199 plus 1 more is going to give you 200. Now we have 1 less than. 1 less than, it means you're going to subtract. You're going to go backwards now. These numbers are going to come before, or these numbers came after. Okay, so again, it's the same thing as before. You're still in that ones place. That's the place you're going to focus on. So you're going to be focusing on this 2, but instead of adding 1 to the 2, you're going to subtract. So 1 take away 2 is going to give you 1, and you keep your 39 the same. Now we have 438. Again, focusing on that ones place. You're going to keep your 1 in your head, 1 less than. You're subtracting. 1 minus 8 is going to give you 7, and you're going to keep the 43. So your new number is 437. Okay? You can do this with any numbers. You can practice with anything. Now we're going to move on to 5 more and 5 less. Okay? Okay. So for 5 more than, again, if you draw your hundreds chart, if you have 5, it's going to go in the ones place. So the only thing that you're worried about is your ones place right now. If that's going to help you, that's one strategy you could use. So you're looking at your ones place in the number 392. And you're going to add 5 this time because you're adding 5 more to the number 392. 2 is in your ones place. 2 plus 5, giving you that think time, is going to give you 7. And remember, your hundreds place and your tens place is not changing. So that's going to stay the same, and write it down on the line. Now let's go to this one. These ones are tricky because you're going to the next benchmark number, or the next 100. So 5 more than 9, again, because I'm going into my ones place because that's what's changing. So I go to my ones place and I have to add 9 plus 5, giving you think time. which is going to give you 14. So you have 4 in your ones place. Remember to carry that 1. 9 plus 1 we know is 10. Carry that 1. 1 plus 1 is 2. So your new number is 204. So all you're doing is going up 5. If you had to, 199, or 200, 201, 202, 203, 204, and I just went up 5. So next, we're going to do 5 less than. So again, still changing that ones place. That's the only thing that's changing. We look here. 2 is in my ones place. Instead of adding 5, since it's less than, we are subtracting. So what is 5 minus 2? It's going to give you 3. So what's going to happen here, hold on. So this is where it gets a little tricky, because when you're taking 2 away from 5, 5 is a smaller number. Or I'm sorry. 5 is the bigger number. So you can't do this, because remember, when you're subtracting, the bigger number has to be on top. So another good strategy that we could use would be to count backwards. Even if you wanted to cover the 3 up, remember to always put it there. But if you wanted to cover that 3 up and count 92, because that's easier for you to count backwards by, you could do that. So start in your head with 92, you're going back 5. So 92, 91, 90, 89, 88, 87. So let's see if we get 87 for this, because we want to check our work. And if you're not sure, it's not a bad strategy to do this. So 12 minus 5. 7, there's an 8, and there's your 3. So we were correct. So counting backwards, it's very important that you can count. Counting backwards and counting forwards is very important when you're solving math problems. So for 438 on the bottom, again, you're focusing on that ones place. And actually, I'm sorry, but before you do this, remember Miss Hildebrand even made this silly mistake. And I'm happy I did it, because it showed you that maybe you would make that mistake, right? It could happen to anybody. So when you're taking that 2 away, you can't just take 5 and subtract 2, because it's not going to give you the right answer. Remember, you want this bigger number on top. So that's when you have to cross out and borrow or unbundle. Okay? So now, going to the next problem, you have an 8 in your ones place. We're going to do 8 minus 5. And in this case, 8 is bigger than 5, so you can do that. What's 8 minus 5? It's going to give you 3. Remember to just carry over. So your new answer is 433. We are going to do the 10 more and 10 less now. All right, so I have my 10 more on top and my 10 less than on the bottom. So if you want to, just to show you, place value is very important. So we have 10. If I fill in 10 right there, it goes into my tens place and my ones place. However, there's a 0 in the ones place. So ask yourself, is that 0 really going to change anything that we're going to do right now? 0 doesn't really have much of an effect. If you have nothing, your numbers are not going to change. So let's see what happens. All right, so now we know that this is going to affect, 10 more is going to affect these 2 place values, tens place and the ones place. So we have 0 and 0 in the ones place, so that's not going to change. So put that there. Then work over to your tens place. You have 1 and more is going to tell you to add. So 1 plus 2 is going to give you 3. And then you just carry your hundreds place over because that's not changing. Next, if it helps, underline that. Again, you have your 0. Your 0 isn't changing anything. So really focus on that tens place because that's what's going to be changing. That's where we have a number that's going to change everything. So keep your 3 the same. 8, remember you have to add this 1. So 8 plus 1 is 9. And 7 is going to stay the same. There's nothing in the hundreds place for it to change. So 793. Now, let's go to 10 less. 10 less is going to tell you to subtract. So we know that although it's a 10, we know that we're going to focus on the tens place that's going to be changing. 0 isn't going to change when we have another 0. It's going to stay the same. So write it so it doesn't confuse you. Don't make it harder than it is. 1, remember we're subtracting, less 1 less than 2 is what? So 2 minus 1 is going to give you 1, and your hundreds place isn't changing. Now let's look here. Focus on this 9 in the tens place. 0, take away 5, is going to give you 5. 9 minus your 1, which is your 10, and that whole number, is going to give you 8, and then you keep your 8 in the hundreds place. Very nice. All right, I want to do the hundreds. So 100 more, 100 less. And then you're going to challenge yourself by coming up with some of your own. All right, ladies, so I have new problems. Remember, we're doing 100 more and 100 less. So let's start on top. And remember, I've been drawing your place value chart to help you. So 100, you only have 100s. Really, nothing else is changing in your tens and your ones place because they're both zeros. So we're going to focus on the hundreds place when we're doing this. When you're adding 100 more, you're focusing on the hundreds place, and you're going to add 1 to this number in the hundreds place. So 1 plus 3 is going to give you 4. These two numbers are staying the same. There's 2 zeros there. Okay, again, look at your hundreds place. 563. 100 more than 563 is going to give you what? You're looking at your hundreds place. You're adding 100 to 500, which is going to give you 600. And remember, these two numbers stay the same. So 663. Now, it's the same thing for subtraction. Your hundred place is still changing. However, this time it's less, so you're subtracting the 1 instead of adding the 100. So 384, looking at your hundreds place, you're going to take the 300 and subtract 100 from that. So 3 minus 1, to make it simpler, get rid of those zeros if they're messing you up. 3 minus 1 is going to give you 2, and you keep your tens place and your ones place because that's not changing. So your 100 less than 384 is 284. Now, 100 less than 989, focusing on that hundreds place, all you're going to do is subtract 100 from this 900. So if you have 9 and you subtract 1 away from it, you're going to get 889. So you can do this with anything, okay? If you're at home, you can make up your own numbers, have mom or dad or whoever's at home, brothers, sisters, aunties. You can have them say, okay, give me a number. They can pick a number for you. And then have them say, okay, do you want me to do 100 more, 100 less, 10 more, 10 less, 5 more, 5 less, or 1 more and 1 less, okay? And practice this. You be the teacher and just make it up and teach your stuffed animals, okay? Have fun with it. Keep learning because this is going to help you become better mathematicians, all right? See you tomorrow. Bye, ladies.